Attention passengers, this is your conductor speaking. We are about to arrive at the hesitation station. Please mind your step as you enter the station.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hesitation Station podcast. I'm your host, Jay, along with my co-host, Tank. How's it going today, buddy?
Doing pretty good, man. A little bummed, but shit happened. So I get it.
You be all right. You be all right. You know why you be all right?
Why? Why will I be all right?
Because we have a guest. It may not have been the guest we wanted, but it's still a cool-ass guest, so you don't need to be bummed.
You know what? You're right. This went from a Power Ranger episode to a fan session, my guy.
Technically a fan Power Ranger episode?
Fan Ranger?
Maybe? Fan Ranger. We'll go with that.
Or Power Fan. I don't know.
No. That sounds
Fan Ranger sounds better, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so we're gonna do that. And we're gonna bring him in right now. What's up, big
guy? It's Mr. Trey. It's Trey.
Tetris. Remember
Tetris
with a P.
If y'all guys follow us on Facebook, he is the winner of the Rangerstop contest, and we decided to bring him on and chat about Power Rangers. Because why not?
Who doesn't love Power Rangers?
Absolutely. Well, if there's one thing I never can stop chatting about, it's definitely Power Rangers. So, what's up, everybody? How are y'all today?
Gotta wear.
You're doing all right.
Shirt,
I love it.
I just got Marvel on. That's all I got.
I'm not wearing one, which is why the cam's off. But I could actually, just to get it ready. I'll go ahead and put a shirt on.
Worldwide reveal.
This is an exclusive.
Not found anywhere else.
Bruh.
Been in the shadows for too long.
I like that song, by the way. Hey!
And it's a Power Ranger shirt too. It's the 25th anniversary for all the villains. It has everyone except for Ivan Ooze. So.
Which
I see Lord Zed on there. That's my boy.
Yeah. No, it's perfect. It's got all the other ones down here at the bottom and such too. And
oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Man, I feel bad. Like, why am I wearing this shirt? I might as well take it off. And no, I'm just kidding.
Please don't. Children are watching this.
Children, my niece watches this.
That's great.
Well, she sees you regardless, but still, we're not trying to scar other people.
That's fair.
That's why I'm wearing a shirt.
So me and Tank were talking. We're like, I wonder what Trey would do if Zordon just came in here, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late."
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, if he does pop up at any point during this interview, I'm bringing him in. I don't give a shit.
And you're going to hear a grown man scream like a little girl.
No, you're going to hear two grown men scream like a little girl.
Oh my Jesus!
Maybe not Jay, but I guarantee you. Look, I've even got on standby.
You can't see that.
No, you can't see it.
Motherfucker. Hold on.
You have an invisible thing.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to go full-blown wheelchair. Zordon!
There we go. Yes. I have it on.
Oh, that's awesome.
Got it on standby.
There you go.
So I hope he shows up, but like I said before, it's understandable.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. He's an actor. He does writing, acting, all that other stuff, and he has his own life, and
he's got a full.
But it's still the fact, right? It's still the fact that he answered me in the beginning, and I'm okay with that. You know?
Yeah, no, like I must say, I'm thoroughly impressed with the amount of celebrity guests that y'all have had respond to you, because a lot of people don't really seem to have that clout, and y'all have pulled some pretty big talent. So, good job.
Look,
no, it's that guy. That guy
Hey,
over
dude.
there.
You got it. You got it.
Yep. He
and
puts out
most
the effort
people,
and everything.
most people that I've talked to, I've actually, and I'm hoping that they get back with me at some point. I talked with Greg Seitz. He's the voice actor for original Beast Boy. And he was so nice, super down to earth. But then he's like, "Hey, get in touch with my agent," and they're like, they don't get in touch back very quick at all.
Well, see, the problem with it all is you are not a patient person.
I am not.
I'm not a patient person either.
One of us has to be, and unfortunately, it's not the one that's reaching out for all the interviews.
Right. Look, I must say, I was dying waiting on the drawing for the giveaway. You know,
I could tell. Dude, I swear,
you won.
I swear, dude, to all the listeners, I did not rig it or anything of the nature. I was just like, let's click spin, and it landed on you. And I was like, okay.
I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, who is Owen? Oh, never mind. It doesn't matter. Trey won.
Right. Yeah, no, I saw it click, and I was like, please be me, please be me, please be me. So, I'll take it.
Surprise.
It worked. Surprise, right.
Surprise.
Y'all already got all the time off and everything ready to go?
Oh yeah, dude. I've put it in, and I don't care if they give it to me or not. I'm taking it. This is not a request. I'm giving you a warning.
I'm giving you a warning that I will not be here.
I will not be here. I went ahead and grabbed from the 15th as suggested onto the following Monday, and I was like, I'm gone. Goodbye.
Yeah. I mean, like I told you, that's what I had planned to do.
Right.
Give you the 15th to get there and get settled into whatever your hotel is. Give you time to run around Atlanta, and then you've got the 16th, 17th, and 18th for Rangerstop, and then the 19th to pack up, hit Atlanta one more time, and then dip out.
Right. So I was looking at the drive, and it doesn't really seem like it's that bad. It's going to be maybe 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I was looking at actually trying to make a whole trip out of it. I have a brother of mine that lives in Kentucky, out of Louisville, and I was like, hey, I might be coming through because it's going to be about a 6 to 7 hour drive from there. And I was like, you know what? I'm off. Let's just hit the road. Let's go. Bye.
Hell yeah. Take that vacation as you can.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I'm assuming you, your wife, and your kids?
Yeah, so that's the plan right now. It's me, she's not my wife yet. I do plan on it soon. I'm unlucky in that matter, but she's currently my fiance, and my 4 kids, all of whom are Power Ranger enthusiasts. I have a 6-year-old little boy, 2-year-old little boy, an 11-year-old little girl, and a 12-year-old little girl. And the girls are a little like, yay, Dad's doing more Power Ranger stuff again. But the boys are like, hell yeah, let's go. So, they may end up somewhere else. And I've had grown friends of mine being like, we're going, right? Right. So, if my daughters decide that they don't want to be cool and they want to flake out, I have plenty of people that would love to go.
Well, I mean, that's all that matters, man. As long as you're go and have fun.
As long as you're happy.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And the 6-year-old, you got to make the baby happy, because if he's not happy, nobody's happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine how that would work.
Yeah. I'm the youngest out of all my brothers, and they, I was always the baby. I was always the one that would want the attention and shit.
Yeah.
And then I love you, Riley. I love you, Riley, but she took my spot. My niece took my spot. Okay? And I'm hurt about that.
Right. You lost it.
Yeah, you be okay. See, I'm the oldest out of me and my 2 sisters. I never got the attention in the first place.
See,
so I'm cool with it.
I'm the oldest on my mom's side, and on my dad's side, I'm the baby of 5. So I've got the best of both worlds, and I didn't really get to know my dad until I was 17, 18, so that whole thing about being the baby didn't really kick in. But being the oldest, as I hear my mother say it now, you need to, whenever you're taking care of the kids or I'm trying to discipline them or whatnot, you need to let up some. I'm like, Who are you? What are you talking about?
Where was that when I was growing up?
Dude, right. Oh, they're the babies. I was like, yeah, it's just because, they're kids that you can pass back off to somebody else. You couldn't do that with us, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like whenever I actually have nieces and nephews, like, yeah, bring them over.
Yeah.
Just chock full of candy and crap. All right, go home.
Send them home, sugared up, goodbye. Right?
New toys that make all kinds of noise and everything.
Yep, fresh batteries. Here you go. Goodbye.
Peace.
Be like, can we go to Uncle Aaron's? No.
No.
That's
I do
great.
not want you to be my uncle. Forget that.
They're gonna go back to your house and try to put you through a table.
Mine would.
So let's talk real quick. We
Sure.
kind of
Aren't we
talk to you
talking right
about.
now?
I'm about to slap you. Wait. Trey's like, I am not in this.
No, I have a child entering the room. This is the oldest who, I don't know if she's decided
Hi.
she's going out. Say hi, Nevaeh. You're on a podcast.
Oh,
Yeah, you're on a
How you
podcast.
These are the gentlemen that we won the tickets to Atlanta to the convention. So say hi and thank you.
Hi, thank you.
you're welcome.
Here. Wait.
She's
I
like,
can't-
why are you doing this to me?
All right.
So I guess let's hear about you. Let's hear about Trey.
Great. Well, it all started when I feel like I'm on the couch. No,
And how does
It all
that make
started
you
with
feel?
my dad.
right. No, hell, man. If you want to go about my interest in Power Rangers, as far back as I can remember, it was Biker Mice from Mars, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then Power Rangers. And then from Power Rangers, it just kind of all went, I say downhill, but it's really uphill from there. Yeah, dude, every great memory I can remember from being a child is involved some type of Power Rangers, whether it be a Christmas and I've gotten a slew of all the toys, or going over to the movies with my dad, my mom, or getting straight A's on my report card and getting to go to Blockbuster. Who remembers that one? And getting a free video game rental. And I'm going to grab the Power Rangers Super Nintendo game for the movie, so.
Yeah. I played the crap out of that game.
It was so good.
Between that one and but they had one on Sega, I think, as well. I played that one, and here he comes.
Oh, he still got it. He still got it.
That's the fighting edition, and I've got this one. I don't have the movie one yet, but I've got this
that's
one.
the one I remember playing the crap out of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, hold on. Show him that power sword.
Got you. Yep, I knew that was coming. All right, here we are.
3D printed, man.
Oh, that's 3D printed?
Yeah, 3D printed it. I didn't take time to fine tune all the details. I was so excited once I got it done. I was like, I just want to slap it together. But it's 19 pieces. I said 15 at first, and then I got to counting, and it's 19 pieces. Printed, primed, sanded, painted, glued together. And it's pretty durable, too. It's pretty nice.
What I'm hearing is we gotta hold those tickets hostage until we get the sword.
Well, that's kind of hard to do since they're already in the mail.
Damn.
Or, shameless plug here, trying to get something off the ground for 3D printing, Murloc Games. You can search me up on Facebook and Etsy. We're temporarily away right now to try to up our inventory, but I'm trying to specialize in printing repro Power Ranger parts.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, sir.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen posts in all the Power Ranger groups I'm in asking, does anybody know where I can get 3D printed this or that or the other?
Right here, sir. And that's exactly why I started it, because a lot of people that do this type of stuff, they actually do it. They actually live, overseas, across the pond, as they say, or in Taiwan. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, we don't really have someone who's able to do this stuff in the U.S. that really seems to frequent social media and it doesn't really try to charge an arm and a leg out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm a collector, I'm a fan, and I love the toys. I have buku toys, so it's like, why not? Why not do this stuff? So I partnered up with a designer in Germany who's known on the internet for trying to design and whatnot, all the Power Ranger parts. different things, and we got together. And whenever I see a design of something that I need, I send him some information, and he generally comes back to me as long as I got all the measurements right. I print it, and we see what happens. Like this right here, which is one of the main reasons I should thank the other day why I'm excited to go to the con, because I've never met Mr. Ivan Ooze, and this never existed as a toy, so I made it.
I want that Spider-Man poster.
Oh yeah, it's great. Ollie's. This right here, my hyperlock chamber.
Oh yeah.
You
can have him sign on the pedestal.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna make one that's a little bit bigger to have him sign, or maybe he can even sign on this one. I'm not sure yet, since this was the first and only one that I've done. But
what you could do if you redo it and make it bigger, have a like a nameplate on there on the base, and then have him signing that nameplate.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, that'd be really easy to do too. Yeah, so that's what I planned on doing for all the other Rangers that are going to be there. I was going to try to print their weapons, and even if they're not painted or sanded or whatever, just bring them and be like, please sign this.
Like, I'm not done with it, but please sign this.
Please. I won't finish it. It'll just sit up, right?
I've got, I was going to try, God damn it. Yeah, and get that. God damn it.
Is that a Rocky Pop?
The Dragon Shield Red Ranger.
Okay.
That, and I've got the Lord Draken in there, but I'm not reaching for it because it's behind other things.
I have stuff, but it's put up, and I don't feel like getting up.
Yeah, the majority of my stuff is in my storage unit, but I keep some stuff here because, like, I just make this and throw it on the shelf. I'm like, hey, that's cool.
Yeah. I just got the Morphed In and Morphed Cammy, the Street Fighter Power Ranger crossover that they did.
Yeah, I saw those. Those are really cool.
I'm going to get the Ken autographed when we go to Birmingham next week. I got Ryu autographed. Now I need to find Cammy and Chun-Li's voice actors.
That'd be really cool. Yeah, I saw that Catherine Sutherland's coming. I'm a little bummed about Amy Jo Johnson's presence at cons, but I mean, I can't really blame her with security not being up to date and whatnot. And
yeah, life happens.
Yeah,
people are stupid.
It does.
Have you met Amy Jo yet, or no?
No, I haven't. The only Ranger that I've been able to meet was Jason David Frank, and I met him at Big Easy Comics in Covington in January of 21. And it was my, at the time, my 6-year-old now, but he was 4 then. It was his birthday. And so he walked into the store, and like, it was just so surreal seeing my son, my baby, walk up to Jason David and be like, Tommy. And like, dude, the coolest experience ever. Like, full blown, just martyr like. Responded to my child, even though he's addressing him as his character, just addressed him, spoke to him, whatnot, even sung him happy birthday on his Facebook and Instagram Live. Yeah, dude, signed. We had the #1 ticket to get in. He signed a White Ranger helmet, happy birthday Elijah, across the visor, and signed a picture of himself, old school picture, and wrote out the lyrics of happy birthday.
I got to meet him a couple times at various cons over the years, and then Jay actually got my Green Ranger pop signed by him when he came up. He was doing his Power Ranger Protection tour.
Yeah, that's what he was doing here too.
He hit Vans up here in Jackson, and Jay went over there while I was at work and got him to sign a pop, and even scored a video from him as well.
That's really awesome. Yeah, I've got a couple of items. So, like, for myself, I got a comic cover signed, and it's the cover of Nirvana's Nevermind, but it's the baby swimming after the Dragon Power coin. And I was like, that's really awesome. So I had to have him sign that, and I presented it to him. And he's like, out of all the comics, he was like, out of all the ones that I was actually like consulted on, he was like, this one here has to be my favorite.
Nice.
And I was like, thank you so much for saying that. Actually, so my daughters have taken the liberty of going and grabbing it. So this is it right here.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then the happy birthday.
Hell yeah.
Is right here. So
that's awesome.
Yep. First and only, but I do not plan for him being the last.
That's fair. I really want to meet I met blue, white, pink, and all I need now is the yellow and black. And I'm gonna meet the Black Ranger in Jackson Con. And I wanted to go to Rangerstop, but stuff happened, things
Yeah.
happen, things go through. And I was gonna meet the Yellow Ranger there. And if I didn't meet the Yellow Ranger there, I was gonna get Tank to get her autograph and I just cash app him. So but it is what it is. So
Well, look,
Life
I'm gonna tell you the same thing that I told Tank. I'm going. That offer still stands available to me as well. If you want anything, let me know. I'll definitely make it happen. I'm coming up to Mississippi Comic Con as well, so
Sweet.
I'll meet you guys there and I'll deliver the goods.
Cool. Yeah. I'll cash app you the money if you can get me Karen Ashley's autograph.
Hell yeah,
I'll be
dude!
more than happy.
I done told you.
Just let me know how much it is, and I'll send it to you.
Absolutely, I got you.
Sweet.
Score me one of them Ivan Ooze coins.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so good.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I want the autographs and everything too, but the autographs we can get whenever. But that Ivan Ooze coin, I think it's a one-time thing.
Y'all guys are gonna laugh at me, and it's okay. But I thought Ivan Ooze was dead, like the guy that played him. Like I thought he passed away long ago, and then I saw it on the Mississippi Comic Con. I'm like, he's still alive?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's Lord Zed that passed away.
Yeah.
Okay. The original actor, right?
Yeah. Was it Robert Axelford?
It was Robert Axel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Axelrod.
Yeah.
I was there's a guy that y'all may know. He's on social media. I have reached out to him to get him on here, but he's doing cons and stuff. His name is Ethan Trace. He's on all over TikTok. He does great voice acting as well, me personally.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a Lord Zed helmet, and he will be at Rangerstop actually as well. And he got on and talking about how Lord Zed got recast in like a new Power Ranger thing, and it didn't sound nothing like Lord Zed at all. And he was very disappointed about it. And he's like, I guess they couldn't get the original voice or get somewhere close because it just did not sound like him.
Yeah. So unfortunately, he passed away. What, about 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, there was something of the sort.
Yeah,
I thought it was further back, like 2013ish, but it may have been afterwards.
Yeah, 2019 is
19. Okay.
Away. And they did. Was it Dino Fury? I think one of the more recent series.
Yeah.
They brought back Lord Zed. But obviously, with him unfortunately being gone, they had to find somebody else.
Right. So, I know the guy who did the voice for him and Dino Fury. They received a huge amount of backlash for that. But I thought the story of it was cool. Just being able to see, Zed on the screen again was pretty epic. So,
well, see, I haven't watched it. I need to just because it's Lord Zed. But it confuses me because at the end of In Space, when Andros shattered Zordon's power tube or whatever.
With the Z-Waves, yeah.
Yeah, the Z-Wave cleansed everything, and Rita and Lord Zed, became purified by it.
Right.
So, they brought back Rita in Once and Always as Robo Rita.
Right.
So I'm wondering how they did that with, wondering how they brought back Zed.
If I remember correctly, it was more of a time travel thing where they went back and captured him, and they had a control necklace on him, kind of like how they done Broly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but then they weren't able to control him, which I know there's a lot of speculation around Once and Always, because he kind of broke away from the villains, and they were like, "Oh no, here's Zed, and he's gonna go and he's gonna partner with the Machine Empire, and or with all the parts of the Machine Empire that are left, and they're gonna create a Robo Rita," and that was so much better, in my opinion, the plot twist and what actually happened. But I mean, they made it happen. I don't really care as long as we got it. So
Yeah, like once I found out they were doing Once and Always, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be wonderful.
there's a lot of speculation that I've seen on YouTube right now about them doing a Power Rangers in space once and always as well. And I was like, that'd be really cool if they can reincorporate like Miranoi and the Quasar Sabers, Lost Galaxy. Because out of all the seasons, Zeo is my number one favorite, hands down. Love Zeo, but Lost Galaxy is really, really good, and a lot of people don't give it enough credit. Like In Space is amazing, but just the idea themselves of like the Arthurian legend of Sword in the Stone, Quasar Saber, that whole thing is it's beautiful. It's amazing.
And
Obviously, I'm partial the original. Because, I mean, that's what I had when I grew up.
Right.
But if I look at it without being, I guess, biased, just because of nostalgia, and I guess a little bit of nostalgia there. I really enjoyed Ninja Storm.
Ninja Storm was really good. It was.
Ninja Storm was good, and then Dino Thunder I thought was awesome.
It was.
One that they brought back Tommy, but then they had the evil White Ranger,
right?
Which threw me for a loop, and he seemed stronger than most of the other evil Rangers that have come before.
Well, I like the whole storyline behind it. I liked it's how after Tommy went to college and he got his doctorate and whatnot, he came back and he partnered with Anton Mercer, who ended up being the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then his son ended up being the White Ranger, who fought the same inner conflictions that Tommy had in the original series. And there was a lot of shake back, if you will, over to the original series with that. But you're right, it was really awesome.
Well, mine's always the original. Mine is where Tommy was. Mine is where we met Tommy. We met the original gang. The original Zordon. All that. That's mine. I never got into any of the, I guess, newer ones.
Right.
Stop that. Stop yawning.
Yeah. That was a burp.
But yeah, that's the kind of stuff I was into. Like I think the last one that I watched that I tried was Power Ranger Samurai. And it was like, yeah, no, this ain't for me, fam.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody,
The Nickelodeon years were a little shaky. I'll give it that. But, I got to give Saban and the Power Rangers franchise its props. To my knowledge, they were one of the only, I know there were a few, but they were one of the only franchises to successfully break away from the clutch of the mouse. So they got away from Disney.
Woohoo! Like, I watched everything up until In Space. I didn't watch a lot of Turbo. I watched it up until Tommy left, and then I caught bits and pieces throughout. And then I watched In Space. And then after In Space, I would pick and choose. So I watched all of Ninja Storm. I watched all of Dino Thunder. I saw a good bit of Samurai just because I have a passion for Samurai.
Right.
Regardless of Power Rangers or not, I thought Samurai were awesome. So, it's Power Rangers and it's Samurai. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to dig this. And I liked half of it. I enjoyed the concept. I liked how the way, they went through the villains and everything and the backstory of it all. And I think that's the first time, and I could be wrong, but I think that's the first time that they brought in a female Red Ranger, which
besides the comics, whenever they introduced, I think it was Grace Sterling as one of the original Rangers from '69.
Yeah. When everybody went to the moon and fought the green Psycho Ranger.
Yeah, which was an amazing storyline by itself. But no, you're right. Me as a child, of course, I started with the original series like everyone else, and with the Green Ranger showing up for 6 episodes and giving the Rangers the business, throwing them completely off guard.
Yeah, that because it was Green with Evil was a series, and Tommy showed up and
just handled them.
Yeah, him and Jason had that tie in the martial arts tournament.
Yeah,
and then in the first episode, he got kidnapped by Rita, and then throughout the next 3 episodes, just straight up giving them the business.
Yeah, no, that was really good. But I would say for me, the original series kind of kicked off. Like I love the original cast, but then it's kind of like around where the movie came out. So seeing Tommy drop down in the white light, and having Kimberly faint or whatnot after he lost his green powers and was given the White Ranger powers, and just it kind of just went from there. And then they broke out into the whole thing where the Thunder Zords got destroyed and the Tiger Zord got destroyed, and they had to go search out, the power for the ninjas. And
yeah,
that was just, it was great. I loved it.
That's when they got so in the TV series, that's the whole where they got Ninjor came in.
Yeah.
And it's funny because allegedly, if I'm remembering right, the movie, the first one, is not canon.
No, it's not. They have two completely different storylines on how the Rangers obtain the powers.
Yeah. Which, when I first found out, I was like, ain't no way in hell. And then I thought about it, I was like, they got him in the movie from Dulcia, but in the series of Ninjor.
Right.
Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. But they made Turbo canon within the first episode, because in the first episode of the show, they actually sit back and do the entire retelling of the movie for Rocky because, he was hurt. So,
yeah.
Hey, Turbo, my boy was Justin, which is Blake Foster.
Yeah.
By the way, Blake, we'd like to have you on here. But yeah, dude, and Blake Foster. Okay, so I know that him and Mike, which was a Red Ranger as well, they had a MMA fight, and Blake kicked his ass. I was rooting for Mike. I'm not gonna lie.
Which Red Ranger was Mike?
Man, what Tank? Do you know?
Mike Olasky is who you're thinking of.
Right.
Mike played young Rocky.
Okay.
And when during Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers, when all the Power Rangers got turned into kids.
Yeah, okay.
He played young Rocky. Which is awesome.
And they had
because I am on Facebook, I'm friends with Michael Argato.
Yeah.
Who played young Tommy.
Who's also going to be at Rangerstop, by the way.
Yes. So I was going to have him, and there's a cosplayer, Patrick Sky, who, in my opinion, is possibly hands down the best Green Ranger, White Ranger cosplayer that's out there right now.
Really?
And, like I said, that's my opinion. I'm sure there are people out there that are better than him, but in my opinion, he is number one. He even got JDF's braces on it, from what I understand.
That's awesome.
And I was going to have both of them sign my Lord Dragon Pop, but things fell through, and it is what it is. So Michael and Patrick, hit me up, get on the show.
Yeah, I really love to see
Patrick.
Do it again.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I really love to see the fact that it really sucks with the passing of JDF, but now I love to see how the guy who played the kid. You said his name's Michael Gatto?
Yeah, Michael Argato. Just go to my Facebook page and look him up.
I love I've seen he's around, he popped up, and he's really taking on the mantle, and it's really cool.
It's between him and then now his kids are out doing things as well. Jenna was in Legend of the White Dragon, which is supposed to come out September of this year, I think.
Yep, September.
And then he's got another daughter,
Sky.
Yeah, that's doing cons as well now.
She's also going to be at Rangerstop, I believe.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So it's nice that even though he's gone, his legacy and his spirit are still going on.
Oh yeah, dude. It's really awesome.
Yeah, between the fans and Michael and everybody else that's gone through and met him throughout the years.
I really want Blake Foster on here because that was my Blue Ranger for a long time. for a very long time, it was Tommy, and that was my dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I stayed with Tommy for a long time. But then Turbo came out, and the Blue Ranger was my dude. Like, Justin was my guy, because I don't know why. I got him. It was like this young kid that was trying to fit in, but also he was the new Blue Ranger, and I loved the design of him.
Because we were kids when it happened, and it's like, it can happen.
It can, maybe, yeah.
Right.
Well, see, I felt
Maybe I
that
can
with,
become a Power Ranger.
Yeah, I felt that with Michael Argotto, and Michael Lasky, because I mean, like I said, when the Power Rangers got turned into kids, that was them.
Right.
You know? So for that whole season, it was, oh my God, there's a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, however old they were at the time, going through all these adventures,
searching out the Zeo crystals.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, oh my God, that could be me. You know.
Let's see. It's morphin' time. Nope. I'm not a Ranger. Nope.
I have spent.
Yeah, and I could call, but I got my communicator stashed away.
Where's my communicator? I have a Galaxy Gear smartwatch that I bought a band from Starlight Studio and modded to be the White Ranger communicator. And
let me show you one of my holy grails real quick.
There we go. Is that a Legacy or is that a Starlight?
No, that's from Etsy. That wonderful
Starlight.
co-host.
Starlight Studios.
Yeah, it's the Green Ranger one.
Yep. I that's where I got it as well, was from Starlight, and they were very awesome, and I grabbed it because they were like, I'm like, are you gonna have any more green ones? They're like, yeah, we should have some by the Thursday. I was like, bet, buy. As soon as it came out, I bought it and gave it to him for Christmas.
So here's my White Ranger communicator with the Galaxy Gear. So yeah, with just a pin set that you can get off of Amazon to adjust it, everything works just fine. So it's wonderful. So it's not charged, but whenever it is, it's got the communicator face and actually does, functions as a real smartwatch. And it's definitely helped me through some hard times. I'm gonna tell you that much.
I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that.
So how I'm the Green Ranger guy, he's the White Ranger guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I told you. It's a white light just coming down. And, oh, yeah, I'll save you. Yeah, that's right. You're mine.
Let me ask you.
I feel like
any of the comics?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. I have so many comics. I have all of the issue number zeros originally. Then I have the reprints of them with the hollow covers. I have a lot of the variant covers. I have the entire first run of the Ninja Turtle runs where...
Hold on.
Yeah.
Mr. Fielding.
Hi.
I'm trying to get my camera set up here. Yeah.
Trey's like, we are not worthy.
We are not worthy.
Oh.
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing
Hey, how you doing?
amazing. How are you?
I'm all right.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Let's see.
I need my heart rate.
Dude, and I saw that box pop up and I was like, not now.
Because we were just talking about comics, how everything was going, and he was talking about what all he has, and I just happened to look down and saw you, and I was like, so before we go any further, you may not remember this, but I do, because it was the most excellent time of my life. I've actually met you once at Mississippi Comic-Con.
Oh yeah,
I got your autograph.
Oh, very cool. Great to meet you. Great to see
Mr.
you.
Fielding, I would like you to meet someone. This is my son, Elijah. Elijah, I want you to meet Zordon, sir.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Great to
Tell them
meet
how much you love Power Rangers.
I love Power Rangers. Oh, here's questions.
Are you ready to teleport to the command center?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
One day he'll be a teenager with attitude, I promise.
All righty.
Excuse me.
I think we all were at one point.
Say hi. Say hi to Zordon.
Right.
Hi.
I still
Yeah, can I play?
I still haven't turned into a ranger yet, so I'm still waiting on that.
I'm waiting on that call.
Well,
Look,
Hopefully this will make it a little bit easier.
this is the greatest day of my life now. I could. You could
Well,
go
now
right
it's a
here, and I
fan-
would be okay.
a fan ranger, power ranger. I don't know what it is anymore.
So how are you doing
So-
today, sir?
I'm okay. I'm doing all right.
Good, good. So Jay brought to my attention a week ago that you have written books, and I did not know that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very bad. So I started reading Gaunt, and I thought that was the first one, but Jay brought to my attention today that was the second book.
Yeah, Glims is the first book, Gaunts is the second, and Gifts is the third, and I'm working right now on the fourth one. So
Oh, here.
Well, when they come out, please let me know. I will happily buy all of them.
yeah, the first two are
have-
available now. Gifts is supposed to be available shortly. So
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to pick them up because they're more than likely going to be an amazing read.
Come
Yeah,
on. There we go.
he was lucky and got the physical copy of Gaunt.
It
I
won't
am
show.
They won't show.
with the ebook, but I'm on chapter 10 of Gaunt at this moment, and
There it is.
It is phenomenal.
awesome.
Thoroughly,
I got the
like,
hard.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would want hardcover.
I am a huge fan of the way that they're not like traditional zombies or anything. It's like you
Mhm.
put a new spin on the zombie genre.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of that right now.
Yeah, I mean, Glims and Gaunts are more about phantoms rather than zombies, but yeah. Yeah, the Gaunt is what's created if a Glim stays around long enough and starts to pick away at the walls of reality. So, yeah.
I think
That sounds
my
cool.
favorite part of the book right now, the Gaunt's one, is there's one part. It was the beginning of the first few chapters, or chapter 2, somewhere around there. It was the part where Miss D was talking, and she was like, they were like, I don't feel like talking right now. You know, I'm cool. And Miss D was like, oh yeah, I know when to be quiet, and blah 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 blah. It was like a chatterbox telling me that she knows how to be quiet, and I'm like, oh, I know somebody like that.
I'm looking forward to it because I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with Petey.
PD is very important. PD is very important. Yeah.
I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far.
So I got some questions for you. Yeah, kind of threw me off. So, thank you for coming in.
Yes, For starters, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure.
This has thoroughly gone off the rails now, and I'm entirely okay with that.
Yeah, let's
I
just
see
let
what
it
you did
roll.
there. Off the
Just let it
rails, you
roll.
get it. All right, so Mr. Fielding, here's the first thing I want to ask you. Let's see. When you were approached to play Zordon, were you excited? Were you happy? How was the process? Because I know there's a picture on Google where you had nothing but green screen on your chest, and it was just your head. So, I mean, was it a long process? Was it something that you were looking forward to, kind of thing?
I had not heard of anything about the show until a friend of mine, a college friend of mine who was working at Saban at the time, called me and said, we're holding auditions for this character. I'm working on this kid's television pilot, and I think you'd be great for this character. Do you want to come down and audition for it? I had just moved to LA. I'd only been there for like 2 months. So I hadn't seen auditions for this in the trades. I think that happened earlier in the summer or whatever. So the day that I auditioned for the show, they'd already been shooting the pilot for a number of weeks, and they were coming down to the end of the shoot of the pilot. And they wanted to cast the role of this techno wizard who was trapped in a time warp. And that's basically all the information that I was given when I went down to audition for it. Now, what was odd about the audition was that you generally go to like what they call a cattle call. You'll go down there, there'll be 2,000 other guys, and you'll put your lines on tape. You'll meet the casting director, and they'll give you some direction or whatever, and then you go home. And you may get a phone call, and you may not. And that was just sort of like the norm of the process. But when I got down to where they were holding the audition that day, it was just me and another guy. And they said, we're going to cast it tonight and we're going to shoot it next week. Are you available? And I said, yeah, of course I'm available. And so I knew right away that it was a very unusual set of circumstances. And I found out later on that it's not really that unusual, but it's not the norm of what normally happens, this kind of thing. And so they gave us basically the pitch that this character of Zoltar, which was the name of the character at the time, was this 10,000-year-old techno wizard, and he was trapped in a time warp. And that was it. That was all the information that we were given. The pilot at that point was still called Dino Rangers, so that was the dialogue that was in the script. These are the power coins. You're going to become Dino Rangers, that kind of thing. But that one gentleman got his lines, and he went to one corner of the room, and I got the same lines and went to my corner, and we read over them a couple of times, and then they took him in first, and he was in there for about 20, 25 minutes, and then he came out, and then I went in, and I met the producers, some of the studio heads, the director, and I met the original cast. And then they had me stand up on a table in front of them, and I basically used the same tone and voice that ended up being used in the show. And Austin St. John turned to everybody in the crowd, said, well, I think we found our Zoltar. And I went home, and a couple of hours later, I got a phone call saying, congratulations, you've been cast. Here's where you show up next week. And that's
awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I heard some talk that you did all your lines in like one day for the whole season.
They only filmed the character one day, yeah, and the only lines that we shot during that day were the lines for the original pilot, and then they had me do a bunch of facial reactions, a lot of bopping around, which when they used for that 99 bottles of beer on the wall, where he was doing all these goofy expressions and stuff. But they only filmed the character one time, and then they used that footage throughout the life of the character. And I was never on set again after that. I would just go into the studio to record lines like every 5 or 6 weeks. So I was very much like Zordon in the show. I was completely separated from the cast. I didn't see them again for 20 plus years. I didn't meet Thuy Trang. I never got a chance to meet her because she was cast after I was already filmed. I didn't meet Jason David Frank for 20 odd years because I was never on set with them. So it was really great to be a part of the show, but it was very kind of a bittersweet experience because I was so separated from it. I didn't actually feel like I was a part of it for a lot of the time because those guys were putting in some very long 14, 16-hour days, 6 days a week, putting those episodes together. And then I would just show up like whenever they called me and said, hey, we need you to come in and record lines. And so I would go in and I would see some of the completed footage. But that was it. So
and that's really crazy because your character was such an integral part of the show. So
I mean, in some ways, if you look at that first season, Zordon's really sort of like he just delivers a bunch of exposition. This is what's happening,
right?
And it's also something that's very unique about the character as a mentor for a superhero team, because if you look at other mentors for superhero teams throughout history or throughout pop culture, you talk about your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or your X-Men or whenever you have like a group of superheroes that have like a mentor character that's with them, eventually that mentor character will join the fight with them. Master Splinter will hop in and help the Turtles out. Professor X will use his mind powers or whatever. Zordon never did that. Zordon was completely isolated and cut off, and the only thing he could do was offer emotional and moral support. And I think that's a great lesson for the 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids who were watching the show at the time, to have somebody in their circle or behind them saying, "I believe in you. You can do this." And so I look at it as a very good thing rather than a negative.
Yeah, well, I look at it like even to this day, a lot of people go through things, and having somebody behind them, just like, I know it's rough, but you've got the power within you to get through this, or you've got the power to be able to withstand whatever it is you're going through. That helps a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, hearing the words "I believe in you" is something that unfortunately I don't think enough people hear enough in their life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just going off with the mentor, it's like in Ninja Storm, they had Mentor G, that ended up becoming either a gerbil or a hamster or something.
A gerbil, a guinea pig, yeah.
Yeah, even then, he's still he does the Zordon role and gives out the advice and everything, but there's still episodes where he comes out and fights somebody, like Lothar or whatever. And when I saw that the first time, I died laughing, because it's a guinea pig fighting somebody.
Who's once again handling them, giving them the business, right?
So, I guess the next question for you, Mr. Fielding, is: do you get Space HBO? No, I'm just kidding.
That's great.
So, no, the sorry, I had to.
Look,
The
when
next
he told me that we were gonna have you on here, I flatlined. Because for the better part of my childhood, you were you were my mentor.
Awesome.
Growing up.
Awesome.
Zordon was everything I turned to when things were going downhill and when I had bad times. And I still do that to this day. I'm 35, about to be 36 years old.
Yeah,
and I still look back.
WWZD, right?
Yes,
Right.
I look back and
what would Zordon
listen to
do?
the advice. And he told me that we were going to have you on here. And I freaked out. And the first questions I had were, all right, first thing I'm going to ask is, what was Zordon's shoe size before he became a living lava lamp? And then, does he get Space HBO? And he's like, no, we'll just leave the questions to us. I'm like, oh no, you're not doing that. I will talk to him.
Well, I would like to ask you something, Mr. Fielding. So I know that they've actually elaborated a lot on the origin of Zordon in the Boom comics. Were you consulted for any of that information or whatnot, or?
No, not at all. I mean, Kyle and Ryan and Misty Flores are accomplished writers, and they had all of the they had the Power Rangers Bible. They had all the backstory that they needed, and they were given sort of like free reign to fill in the blanks or to make up stuff, because when the show was put together back in the 90s, it was done like the same way that a lot of shows were done. They were sort of like making it up as they went along.
Right.
There was not a lot of, it wasn't like Kevin Feige and the MCU, where they had like a 10-year plan of everything being interconnected and this leads to this, leads to this, leads to this. It was just sort of like, we're going to put stuff together and we're going to try to take this footage from this Zoo Ranger episode and try to work it into this storyline. So they were sort of like given free reign to sort of explore all the stuff that hadn't been addressed in the 90s series. And I think they did an amazing job. They still kept the sort of bright, vibrant, colorful aspects of the Power Rangers, but then they moved it into a little bit more of a mature realm. And
It's a darker realm, right?
Yeah. Not necessarily darker, but just sort of like, this is a much more logical outcome of what's going to happen because of these very dire circumstances. And again, because before the Boom Studios comics, there was a lot of chatter online about. Karen Ashley is fond of talking about Power Rangers as sort of like it's rated G with extra cheese, and it is kind of goofy and silly, but and then there's the chatter online about, well, why would Zordon recruit children to fight a war for him, and you talk about child soldiers and that sort of thing, and then the Joseph Kahn Adi Shankar short came out, which was Power / Rangers, which was very dark. And I think Bulk and Skull ended up being dealers in that, and
Right.
there was blood and gore, and it got a lot of response from the people that had grown up with the show but were now adults and were wanting something a little bit more meaty that they could sink their teeth into. And I think on some level that might have influenced the direction from Boom, is that they wanted to have stories that had more weight to them.
Okay.
And, because a lot of the episodes that from the series, they're very light and fluffy, and they're fun and stuff, but the consequences of Angel Grove being destroyed 5 times a month doesn't matter.
All right, let's just rebuild it.
Yeah,
Okay, go figure.
We'll be fine.
Now,
Then-
they did the reboot in 2017.
Yeah.
And Bryan Cranston came back. I know he voiced a few monsters in the original series.
Yeah.
But they brought him back as Zordon. Did they approach you for that any, or
No.
what did you think of the reboot?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, there are things that I wish that they had done differently, but overall, I think they took a little bit long getting to what the heart of what Power Rangers is, but I think they got there. I wish that we had got to see the kids fight outside of the suits, like they did in the show. I was ecstatic when they cast Bryan Cranston as Zordon, because my chances of meeting him just jumped up 50%. And but I thought he brought a real, again, that sort of mature weight to the character. He also got to move around the ship, which my image was just very static in the show. I like the fact that Zordon in the movie was kind of a jerk. He was so focused on solving the problem that he couldn't accept, or he wouldn't take the time to properly train his proteges or whatever. And of course, that's all redeemed through Billy's sacrifice. And I think that was a great moment of awakening for the Zordon character in that movie, about him making the sacrifice to stay in the grid so that Billy could come back. I thought that was great. I miss my real Goldar. The Goldar they had in the movie was just kind of that didn't work for me.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that Goldar either.
I thought the Zords were a little too small. I think the Zords should have been a much larger than what they were, but yeah. I love the fact that they backhanded Rita all the way to the moon. I thought that was fantastic.
That was great. Yeah, I didn't like how the Rangers had their own encapsulated sections inside of the body parts on the Zords. Like the idea of a command center in the Megazord's head.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been fun to be a fly on the wall of all of those design meetings about the different iterations about what they wanted to do with that, because the first Megazord is such a classic design. It's boxy and it's very the Asian influences, the Shogun like stance of that Megazord is just so great. But it was fun to be sitting in the audience and hear the name Zordon over and over, and nobody was looking at me, so it was fun.
Right.
I wasn't a big fan of the way that they did the Mastodon for that new Megazord. Because,
yeah, I mean, they went with a real sort of like alien look to a lot of them. They sort of had a shape, but it didn't look like a mastodon at all. I
think it had like 6 legs and 4 tusks, and I'm just like, what?
Again, those design meetings are all by committee, and everybody is throwing in their 2 cents, and it gets all messy.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna ask one more thing, and I know you've probably gotten this a million times, but what about Power Rangers Once and Always? Were you consulted to be brought back? Are there any talks that you can hint around at for you to be brought back?
No, I mean, I'm not really sure if anybody at Hasbro or on the current production side of the show even knows who I am. I have never been contacted by anybody in an official capacity from the show about much of anything. I think four or 5 years ago, the Ford Truck Company did a commercial that used some of the original footage from the show. So I was brought in to recreate the voice for Zordon for that. But if they are aware of who I am and what my contribution is, I don't think that they have any plans to do anything with the character at this point. I think the character serves them better if he is just somebody that they talk about. Now, I did find it very interesting that in the Once and Always special, David Yost, the Billy character, was trying to bring Zordon back. And I thought that was like the first time that the show acknowledged that that was even possible. Because I've had over the years fans tell me that they don't want Zordon to come back because it would lessen his sacrifice if he did come back.
I can see that.
Even though in every other superhero comic book or superhero TV show, people always come back from the dead all the time, and it's very common. But there were a lot of very loud, very vocal, very adamant voices about no, Zordon needs to remain gone, and I'm not really sure why that is. I think at the beginning, Zordon wasn't really given a whole lot of attention because there was no toy to sell of Zordon. So there was no merchandise. There was no reason to push the character. There was no reason to sort of include him any more than just being a face on a wall and giving instructions and support to the Rangers, because the TV show was about selling toys, and the toys that were selling were the guys that you could bend their legs and do the high kicks and do all that stuff. Zordon was just a floating head. So, I mean, I have nobody called me, nobody contacted me. I had heard through the grapevine, I had heard through some of my friends, some of the other Rangers, that it was going to be happening, but in none of the specials that they've done, in none of the episodes where they bring back some of the regular characters from the show has anybody reached out. So
I feel that's such a disservice to like the fans of old, as we are all
I mean,
are now.
I look at it from a very practical point of view because I didn't spend a lot of time in Hollywood. I didn't spend a lot of time in the business of trying to be a television personality or anything like that. I went out to LA at a very late age. Most people, when they go to LA, are 20, 21, 22, and they spend years pounding the pavement trying to get cast in shows. And Austin St. John was 18 when he got cast. Same with Karen Ashley and Johnny Bosch and Steve Cardenas. They were 19, 20 years old when they got cast. So they were thrown into this thing at a very early age. When I went to LA, I was 29. I was 30 years old when the show hit the air. And so my tolerance for bullshit was already way up here.
Feel
so,
that, right? I think it's the first time I've ever heard Zordon say bullshit.
Yeah, and I found out very early on that there were certain things that I would have to change about myself if I wanted to continue to be in that industry.
Right.
And some of those things were not things that I wanted to change about myself. And so after about a year and a half, I had decided, I don't think LA is for me. And Tony Oliver was frantic trying to get me to stay, just stick it out another 6 months. And I was just emotionally and mentally burned out, because I felt like I was spending 17 hours a day in my car, just driving from place to place. I was working 2 different jobs. I was delivering mail here and delivering mail there. And I felt every weekend I was, this close to living under a bridge. So I didn't want to spend the rest of my time doing that. And so I just left and headed back to the East Coast. Not because I had any hard feelings or was upset about anything with the show. It just stopped. Yeah, it didn't necessarily get old. It just, like I said, I didn't feel like I was really a part of it. I would just go in one day every 5 or 6 weeks, and I would be in the booth for maybe half an hour to record the lines that they had set up for me, and then I would go away. And then I wouldn't hear anything about it. I wouldn't do anything. I was just working. So, I mean,
Yeah.
and I could at that point in time, I could have gotten a job anywhere and worked anywhere. So
Right.
why was I torturing myself in LA when I could have been doing something else? So
Right. So do
Yeah,
you regret playing Zordon, or do you?
Oh
you
no,
wouldn't trade?
not at all. I am very humble and grateful about being given the opportunity to be a part of something that captured the imagination of so many people. I mean, when we did the show, this was before the internet. This was before the pop culture explosion. This was before conventions had sort of like, were like a every weekend kind of thing. So doing the show at the time was like, okay, well, I'm part of this kids cartoon show that happens every Saturday or every afternoon. But back then, those shows would change every year. That show may be popular for a year, but then it would be replaced by something else later on. So it was just sort of like, oh, that was great. I went to LA and I actually got to be on a TV show. Fantastic. I can check that off my bucket list. I did that. Now let me go see if I can do something else. But it wasn't until Facebook came along that I started to get messages from strangers about, hey, weren't you that guy on that show? And then me starting to go, yeah, whatever happened to that show? And then finding out that, oh my gosh, they had so many different seasons, and oh wow, and whatever happened to my character? Oh wow, they did that. Oh, okay, fantastic. And I did get a phone call when they were going to do the movie in LA in '95, but when they again made the decision to save money and film it in Australia, they cast a local actor down there, which is why Zordon in the movie doesn't look like Zordon from the TV show. And
As a 5-year-old, that freaked me out. Let me just say.
yeah, it's like, that's not Zordon. But again, the way the show was made, the way the show was put together, and the way that the owners, manufactured it. I mean, they always, did it as, how do I say this diplomatically? They did it the most cost-effective way they could, and the most cost-effective way they could was to keep wages low, to keep all this other kind of stuff. So,
All right.
again, I don't think they were looking at the show as something that was going to be coherent and tied together over a long period. They were just sort of like, we're going episode from week to week. Things can change. I think they might have tried to stick with some of the mythology of the show and to make sure that there was some sort of continuity throughout. But again, they were making a show for 5 and 6 year olds to sell toys. So that was it.
Well, let me ask you this. I know, was it Dino Fury last year? I think brought back Lord Dead, and then with Once and Always, they brought back Rita as Robo Rita. Now, a concept that I've had in my mind, I personally think would be awesome. I think there was a time in Dino Thunder where Tommy came back. He was the Black Dino Ranger, and there was a few episodes where he got stuck in the suit. Now, if they did something like that and brought Zordon back, but as a Power Ranger, and just had somebody do all the moves and everything, would you be? That'd be something that you'd be down for, to come back as the voice of the character.
I would be I would love to go back and be a part of the show in some capacity. But again, I'm not really sure that that's a direction that they're actually thinking about taking things. Part of that reason is because at least up until recently, they were still using the Japanese footage from whatever season it was,
Right.
to help flesh out the storylines and stuff.
Yeah.
Zordon was an invention for the American version of the show, so there was no Zordon equivalent in the Japanese Sentai. So there's no storyline for a Zordon character in the Sentai. So there's no real direction for them to go.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that they're not going to be relying on the Sentai stuff now. So whatever they plan on doing with the story, I have no clue what that is. I mean, I'm not associated with the show. I'm not. So my feeling is if they do bring Zordon back in some way, that they'll probably recast. I mean, that's kind of like the standard operating procedure. I mean, I think of the 2017 movie. They had a missed opportunity to bring back more of the original cast to have cameos because I think Amy and Jason were kind of wasted in those cameos. They just showed up at the end with cameras or whatever. But I mean, you know, there were ample opportunity for them to include some of the other actors from the original show to be townspeople in Angel Grove. You know, I could have been the owner of the Krispy Kreme and been, well, what the heck's going on?
That's a wonderful idea.
That
So,
would've
I
been
mean,
awesome.
but again, you have to look at these things from a cost-effective business standpoint rather than a creative narrative standpoint.
Yeah.
And whatever saves them money, that's the choice they're going to make.
Right.
Yeah, whatever's efficient is the route that they're going to take.
Yeah.
Well, as much as I would love to keep talking about Power Rangers, I could do that all day. All right, so you came out with Glims, came out with Gaunt. You've got another book coming out soon, and then you're working on a fourth one. What other projects have you got going on, or have you done that you've got?
I am currently working on some other stories that have sort of like scratched an itch in my imagination, so I'm fleshing those out. I'm lucky enough that I sort of like don't have a deadline to work towards, so I'm not under pressure to finish any of these things in any sort of time. That's also a bad thing because I will find a reason not to work on it, and I'm waiting for Diablo 4 to come out next week.
There you go.
Take some time doing that, but I'm compelled to create stories. That's just a part of who I am. So there's always something that I'm tinkering with here and there. Whether or not, they get finished or they get shelved for a later date or whatever. But I mean, I'm also dealing with the existential crisis of all of this strange and weird stuff that's happening in our world these days. And how much time do all of us really have? I mean, the pace of things and the way things change and increased incidents of violence sort of on most days make me not want to leave the house. So, and a lot of those days are spent feeling a little down in the mouth because if I'm worried about what's going on out there, that's time away from me being creative. That's time away from me being able to give back something into the world that somebody might read someday and go, oh, this is fantastic. And, that will spark something else. And to go back to what Power Rangers is, I think that's what Power Rangers has been for so many people, is that it's been an inspiration. It's been an escape. It's been a way to sort of like deal with how dark and ugly the real world can be. And for that, I will always be forever grateful and always humbled by the fact that so many people appreciate the show for what it is and appreciate the people that were a part of the show and would like to talk to us whenever we can. And so, we can continue to share time with you guys, because without you guys, we would not be here. I would be doing my own thing or whatever. So thank you to you guys for keeping up with us and wanting to stay interested in who we are and what we're doing. So thank you for that very much.
Well, I thank you for being a huge part of my childhood. Like I said earlier, you even back then and even till today, I'm still going back and watching the old school Power Rangers and taking lessons from it and learning that, things may not be going great at the moment, but persevere, keep your head up. You've got that power inside you that you can turn it around, or at least survive the chaos until things do get better.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lesson that honestly will probably never go away. You can use that even further down the road.
Yeah, I should remember that more often than I do.
Look, I was gonna say it's about the same for me. As having small children who have grown up watching the show and whatnot, and then just me dealing with all the things that I've dealt with, and they are in front of the TV and they hear Zordon talk about the same thing and say the same thing that Dad just got done saying 5 minutes ago, and they're like, "There's truth to this." So, thank you, sir.
You bet. You bet.
And I'll say this. I think I can say the same for Jay. Number one, we greatly, you have no idea what this means to me personally to have you on this episode. But with that being said, in the future, I would love to have you on again to talk about your other projects. They're either done or when they come into fruition or what have you.
Yeah.
Because I know Power Rangers was like a good part of your life, but I know that you've got other things that you're trying to work on, and
Right.
if we can get the word out for that, I'd be down with that too.
Yeah.
So I think my next question for you is, will you follow us?
Will I follow?
Will you follow the hesitation station?
On social media, you mean?
Yes,
Sure.
that's awesome.
Sure. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Send me the links.
Okay. Sounds good. I think my last question for you is, do you think Zordon is alive? I know you probably got that question a lot, but I want to hear it from you.
Personally, I think he is, because from my perspective, and because it is a science fiction superhero show,
There we go.
Zordon was trapped in a time warp, and his projection was what was in the power chamber. His life force that was being projected from the time warp into the power chamber, that was what created the Z-Wave. Shattering the power chamber disconnected him from that dimension of reality. So he was no longer able to project himself into that dimension of reality. So I think it's perfectly logical, given the rules of science fiction superhero storytelling, that Zordon is out there in some other dimension somewhere. They just need to go find him. And Once and Only sort of like touched upon that, because Billy was convinced that Zordon could be reconstituted and brought back. That's what the whole premise of what started the whole ball rolling and brought Rita into this reality or whatever. So I think, the storytellers that are working on the show now understand that audiences these days are familiar with and accept the idea of multi-dimensions, multiverse, different aspects of reality that all sort of like touch upon one another. So the only question you have to answer at that point is like, is the Zordon that they find the actual Zordon from the TV show? Or is it going to be a darker Zordon? Is it going to be a more aloof Zordon who doesn't want anything to do with the Power Rangers? I mean, there are 24 different directions you can go as far as reintroducing the character into the show. But again, don't know if they have any plans for that or if that is anything that they're interested in. So, but from my personal perspective, I think Zordon's out there somewhere.
And not just in our
Okay.
hearts. Not just in our hearts.
Well, that would be kind of cool because they did that, I think, something along those lines. You get essentially the origins of Lord Zed in the comics now. You find out how he, according to the comics, was Zordon's mentor, and then things went south, and he ended up becoming evil, and then now he's a Power Ranger. So I'd love to see where they go with all.
Yeah, and I just caught up with Melissa Flores on her run, and she's got Zordon's body is actually becoming a vessel for Dark Spectre, and I was like, oh wow, okay,
Yeah,
interesting. So yeah,
because it's in the comics they have the Death Ranger, they've got the new Green Ranger with a overhauled Sword of Darkness, where he doesn't have to be under Rita's spell per se, and then Vessel is the character in the comics now that is essentially Zordon's body. That's now just an evil, super bad Ranger.
Seems
So,
like an Ultron slash what's the guy's name? It's
I
the
mean,
Vision.
if I had my if I had my wish, I wish they would do an animated version of like the Boom comic book storylines and stuff.
That would be amazing.
That way, because that way they could bring us all back to do voices for the characters, and they wouldn't have to have everybody in the same room to do it. We could all do it from wherever we are, or drive an hour or so to some recording studio to do the lines. And I think that would be the best way to get the original cast back together. I mean, sadly, we won't have all of the originals anymore, but for the current members of us who are still around and still kicking, I mean, that would be so fun to be part of an animated series. That would be awesome.
Let's make it happen, Hasbro.
Yeah, Netflix, get up and do it. Somebody, I don't care who, I will buy all of them.
Well, Mr. Fielding, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience meeting you, sir, and I cannot wait to meet you with my family in Atlanta. Thank you for gracing our presence.
Yeah. I'll see you in a couple of weeks then.
We
sir.
recently did a giveaway for Rangerstop, and he's the guy that won the tickets to Rangerstop in Atlanta.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Yep. So we're ready for that. Now, I do have one last request. And you can say no. It won't hurt our feelings. But my request is, will you do the Zordon voice and tell people to follow us?
Sure.
Okay, sweet.
It's the Hesitation Station. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Greetings. This is Zordon, and I urge you to follow the Hesitation Station immediately.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And if you would like to shout out your socials, that way people can follow you as well.
Yeah, I'm at David J. Fielding on Twitter. I don't know how long Twitter is going to be up, but I'm also David J. Fielding at Spoutable. You can find me on Instagram at DJFielding_Zordon.
Okay.
You want to put out for your books and everything as well?
Yeah, if they go to my Twitter page or to Spoutable or Instagram, they can find links to my books. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. I'm gonna look at those.
Go get it. Go get it.
Yeah, it is a very good read.
It is.
To have it finished,
So I will be picking it up at the end of this week. I promise.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I don't read, but I was like, I'm gonna get this and see what it's about. And my wife, she reads like a robot. She can read this whole book within a night. And I'm like on chapter 5, and she's like, "Why you read so slow?" I'm like, "I'm so sorry."
So let me ask you this: what we know obviously, and then you have your books as well. So what do you do in free time? Like, I know you mentioned Diablo 4 earlier. So
yeah, I mean, I play video games. I play tabletop RPGs. I take walks in nature. I mean, when I'm not afraid to go outside. I enjoy learning about different places in the world. So I will spend time surfing on the internet and going down rabbit holes about different cities or different locations in the world that I may not be able to visit in this turn of my life on the planet. Maybe next time I come around, I'll go live over there or something. But I like exploring stuff like that. I also like exploring history. So, yeah.
Speaking of your love of tabletop, Jay and I had a conversation the other day about something that we want to kickstart, I guess, so to speak. Have you heard of Roll20?
Yeah.
So I brought this up to Jay the other day, and I was like, we could do this whole thing where we, as a podcast, start a D&D on Roll.
Yeah, I mean, you could
Our
actually
fans-
do, if you wanted to, you could, get the Renegade Power Rangers tabletop role-playing game, and you could play Power Rangers on Roll20. So
Now, my question is, if we get that started, would you be down to play with us?
I
If you have the time?
might be able to do like a guest spot, maybe like a one episode kind of thing. But it all depends on timing and what schedules are like and stuff like that. So
Yeah, because you go to a lot of cons.
And look, if y'all go ahead and you get that together, keep me in mind. I'll be more than happy to supply the minis.
I'll supply the minis.
There you go.
That's awesome.
You need to do a power chamber. And
I do.
Yeah.
I do. You're right.
so get that and then gift it to this wonderful human being right here.
Yes, sir. I actually have a Zordon power chamber dice tower that I'm working on. So
Nice.
yeah, Renegade sent me one of theirs. So I've got that sitting over there. So
Nice.
What he said is, I got a lot of Zordon memorabilia.
right.
Oh.
So,
I'm
do y'all
sorry, this
two
is
have any
bad.
questions?
Look, I'm still riding on cloud 9 right now, man.
Yeah, I'm.
We way up here.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Fielding, do you have anything? Or
no. I mean, I've got 2 hungry cats that need to get fed, but
yeah, I got 2 hungry dogs.
4 kids, so it's about that time too.
The kids
a
are
wife.
fine. They can starve. No, just Zordon's on here. They'll be fine.
Right.
My wife is okay. She's probably watching some spooky TV show anyway. But
Well, okay. Well, I
it
guess
has
I'm
been
gonna-
a blast.
well, thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure to be here. Great to meet everybody, and hopefully we'll get to meet at a con some of these days, or see each other at a con again one of these days. And thanks for reading the books. I hope you enjoy them.
And
sir.
if you
will.
come
Yep.
down to Jackson, back down to Jackson, Mississippi, reach out and I'd love to just take you out for a meal or something.
Okay, sounds good.
Don't worry. He's not an axe murderer.
That reminds me of when I met JDF. I'm 6'3" and almost 400 pounds, and JDF, we all know his stature. And I'm just like, "You're like my Superman," and I swear you could see it in that man's eyes. Whoa, big fella!
Whoa. All right, Mr. Fielding, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Thank you so much for being on here and just
You bet.
chatting with us.
You guys have a great rest of your night. Okay,
Yes,
You as
sir.
well.
Be safe out there.
and may the power protect you.
It's morphin' time. No, okay, I'm done. Still not a ranger. Damn. All right, guys. They're still coming down right now, so just give them a minute.
I'm not going to come down from cloud 9.
Yes.
Sometimes
Got it all. Look, I'm sharing the link with all my friends and being like,
Like, you just
It's
sound
like,
super cool.
I'm not even part of this shit. No, I'm just kidding.
right. Hey, what
Um,
did you do this weekend? Nothing. Hung out with Zordon. No big deal.
Right, no big deal.
Number
Yeah, dude,
one-
I'm really happy you were able to come in here and have that experience. I really am.
Yeah, dude. Me too. Thank you.
Number one, you won the tickets, being a fan. Number two, bam, you got to meet Zordon.
I did.
I think this dude is like a mega fan now because he's got tickets. He got to meet Zordon. He got to be on a podcast. Man, this dude is living the life.
Dude, look, I have enough memorabilia to be considered a mega fan. I promise you. It's pretty bad.
Well,
Let's just get this out there. He leveled up. Why? Because he followed this.
The Hesitation Station podcast.
Hesitation
That's right.
Station, yep. So you don't forget it. Don't be a mega fan of us. I mean, we
There
don't
you go.
have memorabilia,
No,
but
y'all
like,
No,
Y'all are
I
amazing.
send him stickers. There are stickers.
oh, okay. So
I
he
do want to
And-
tell y'all.
hold on. There is so one of your packages has stickers,
Mhm.
and then one of the packages has nothing major, but the other package has a small little gift in there.
Small little gift.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay.
It's not like a weapon or a car or anything like that, you know, for Power Rangers, but it is a small little thing of Power Rangers memorabilia.
Okay. Awesome.
So enjoy that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I was going to tell y'all, if you ever try to venture out into any card games or whatnot, you know, I do play Yu-Gi-Oh as well, regional champion, really good at that type of stuff. And I'm right here in Louisiana, so traveling's nothing. We can get together and
That guy has a crap ton and loves Yu-Gi-Oh. I've still got
give
my
you all-
Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
let's go, man. Let's go.
Dude,
I'll give you all my cards. I don't want them anymore.
I'll take them. I want all of them.
I only
don't know
got back
about
into it
giving-
because of Tank.
I don't know about giving you my cards. I might sell them to you.
Let's just have another giveaway. It'll be fine.
Let's have another giveaway. Let's do it.
Right.
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Obelisk.
The Wing Dragon of Ra.
Screw Obelisk. Well,
Well, I've
yeah.
got all three of them, okay? And Exodia, so I don't want to hear
Look, you know it's bad when you can quite literally do this. Ready? Reach down and go.
This mother.
It's a case of cards.
All right.
I thought he was about to pull out the dual disc.
No, I don't have one, but like all of my stuff is here.
I need to do that. I just have mine in
Right.
boxes.
So I want to thank everyone for showing up tonight. I urge you to follow the Hesitation Station podcast on all social media platforms, which would be TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, what have you, YouTube. I don't care. Get it done. May the power protect you all.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace out.
Bye.
Attention passengers, this is your conductor speaking. We are departing the hesitation station. Please stand clear of the closing doors.